Welcome to another edition of Poor Man's Sports. I am joined here with the hosts of said podcast. Over here with Eric and Josh. Josh, please wake up because we've got a lot to go over with. The playoff games have just begun. Some really intense games have happened this past weekend, so we're just going to go ahead and cover them here tonight. Thank you guys for watching, for listening. We still don't really have our socials up yet, but they will be up, so please be patient with us. Eric, where can they be watching this podcast currently?
Well, right now we're just on YouTube.
Yeah.
Started as an experiment. Guess we still is an experiment.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just on YouTube right now. That's the range we have. Welcome to Poor Man. That's our range.
Yeah.
We do all things poorly.
We do all things poorly.
But we still try to deliver a good podcast. So let's just jump right into it because we got some games to cover. Let's hand with Saturday's game with the Rams Panthers. The Panthers won this the Rams won this game 34-31. What were your guys' thoughts on this game?
I was surprised. I know these two teams played earlier in the regular season, and the Panthers won. They played really well in the regular season game, and
31-28. It was a close game.
Yes, it was the same. It was almost the same game. It was literally almost like the very similar game. So I was very shocked by that game. Pretty impressed with the way the Panthers showed up. And let me just say this. We don't think often about the Carolina Panthers. I know they're a young franchise. They came into the league in 95 along with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Their fans showed out, dude. Like, I was really impressed. Like, they filled that stadium. They were loud. I think that really helped the energy of that team. And they put on a very competitive game. They had the game, dude, and they got Matt Stafford, and then that was the end. And so, but I was pretty impressed with them and the way they actually competed, I should say, because it didn't look like they belonged in it with an 8-9 record. They probably didn't, but they at least showed some balls and some fight, and they almost knocked out a team that got pretty high odds to get to the Super Bowl and win. So hats off to them. Bryce Young looked okay. He's like 5'9", playing quarterback out there, but I mean, they made it interesting. So
yeah, Eric, I think you said it perfectly with mentioning Matt Stafford. If you look at his stats, 24 completions with 42 attempts. Obviously, he threw more than he probably should
Right.
have, but he really needed to because he threw for over 304 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
that's huge, and in a lot of ways, I keep saying this is what the NFL and this is what a lot of teams are missing is a quarterback that can deliver. Because if you actually look at Bryce Young, to your point, he had 40 attempts, 21 completions. He only threw for 264 yards, 1 touchdown.
he didn't have any interceptions though, right?
He had 1 interception.
1 interception. Yeah, Bryce Young is a guy that he was a number 1 draft pick, dude, in 2023. I look, he's not dog meat, but he's not going to live to that pick, I don't think. Does that make sense? He's one of these guys that's like, he was so he was picked before C.J. Stroud. Keep that in mind. C.J. Stroud got picked at number 2, you know what I mean? And I don't want to say C.J. Stroud is like that guy yet either, but interesting pick for the Panthers, but he's kind of just in the middle. He's in the middle. That's it. Matt Stafford
goes a long ways. That's why Stafford was the better quarterback. Better quarterback won, in my opinion.
Yeah, Stafford's really good. He's great.
He was hated early in his year. There were a lot of doubters out there.
You know what? He's a little bit like Drew Brees. in terms of like where he started and where he's ended.
You know,
He
that's a
was
good
with.
comparison.
It's just it's similar. I don't want to say it's the same because he was never doubted with like his measurables. Like he
Right.
had that height, the arm. I think it was more of like he was at the time he was with the Detroit Lions before they rebuilt and became a little more competitive. I shouldn't say little, a lot more competitive, but
I put him on the map, put him back out there, but
he did. He definitely elevated their franchise. But it's interesting that they traded him straight up for Jared Goff, and people still wonder like who won that trade. It's like the Rams. They won the trade because they traded and won the Super Bowl the very next year. So,
yep, exactly.
anyway,
Great.
Much more competitive, closely contested game. It towards the end there, but Packers Bears. It seemed like Packers had that game like in the bag. I mean, you guys are gonna have to break it down for me a little bit more. But what happened there? Because I was looking at the score early on. Packers were had a huge lead over the Bears. What happened, Eric? Like, what was the switch? What was the shift there?
the Packers just pulled a straight Eagles, dude. That's what
Okay,
they did.
all right.
I mean, you're up. What was this? I think it was a 21-3 at the half, and they looked really good. Like they came out, and it didn't look like it was even going to be close. It looked like they were going to run the Bears out of the stadium. Jordan Love was killing it. You know, he started off in the first half. I think he had 3 touchdown passes in the first half, and they came out in the second half and had no answers, none. The Bears really turned it around defensively. They just whatever adjustments they made, they completely took the passing game away from the Green Bay Packers. They just eliminated it. So because they were just like airing it out to anybody and everybody that they wanted to in the first half, and it just looked like it was going to be a blowout, and they just melted down. And I just think this is kind of like the Packers were a team that I heard a lot through the course of the season that was just like hand them the Lombardi Trophy, and I feel like they get that a lot. And that was an all time meltdown. That was worse because they were on the road doing this. You know what I mean? Like when you're on the road and you're able to get that kind of lead, you take the crowd out of it. It's very deflating. You got to be able to close that out and finish that. And I think this is the Packers are one and done again. And I'm going to say this too. Another interesting. This is not like something I made up, but the Green Bay Packers have been in the 7th seed, I think, 3 times in the last several years, right, Josh? They've been like the last team in. And if you think about it, it wasn't but 4 or 5 years ago they did the expansion of the playoffs by one team. They went from a 6th seed to a 7th seed. The Packers have been getting into the 7th. So they wouldn't even be making the playoffs if we were in the 6th seed format still. Think about that for a second. That's crazy, right? It's true. I know that's not how it is now. The format is the format now, and it has definitely added a level of competitiveness to the NFL. I think just adding a one spot, you don't need to go any further. Let's not let the whole league in, but it's interesting to think that since they've opened up that 7 seed, they've been in that spot 3 times now, and they've been one and done twice this year and last year.
That is why and we talked about this early in the season, Eric. They are extremely overrated, and
Yeah.
Saturday showed that Love. Actually, I want to give Love his flowers. I think he played really well. He had 46 attempts. He threw for a 52% pass completion. He threw for over 323 yards, 4 touchdowns. He was only sacked once, 0 interceptions. And everybody had touches. You know, Jacobs had 55 yards, Brooks had 16, Reed had 14. Even Love got the ball. They threw it to him for 11 yards. So well done. Obviously, they just were not a second half team because this was the battle of the quarterbacks, and this is what I really love. Okay, and this is what this season was missing for the most part all around because even Williams, man, he threw for 48 yards, 50% complete percentage,
I
300.
mean, 48 passes. Through 48 passes.
48 passes.
50% though. That's not
50%. 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I think 2 of those were in the first half.
they both
But
were,
he was able to grind through that and mentally finish that game. They're besides the Denver Broncos, the Bears are a great second half, fourth quarter team. Because what is this? Their fifth game where they came back in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, they've had to come back a lot. They've been that team just like Denver, dude.
So battle of the quarterbacks. I love this. We need more of this shit as well. So,
yeah. From a competitive standpoint, I see what you're saying. You have to also keep in mind they're down 21-3, so you're going to need to throw the ball to get back in the game. Because I think Jordan Love was not quite the reverse, but he had the big first half and then tapered off a little bit in the second half. Whereas Caleb Williams really struggled. Caleb Williams is an interesting quarterback. He is very dynamic. He's unbelievably athletic, dude. He is insanely. He makes throws, dude. Like, he's kind of a little sloppy at times. He is, okay? He can get a little sloppy at times, but when he starts to kind of turn it on, dude, he is insane. Like, his ability to like escape pressure and then throw the ball while contorting his body, it's a little bit like Patrick Mahomes, except he's got more athleticism. He is so much faster than he looks, because he kind of looks a little chunky like Patrick Mahomes. But dude, when he gets on the run, he's like
a Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, he's far more athletic than Ben, dude.
He's more athletic. He's bigger. He extends the play really well.
Got a better arm.
Gloves. Obviously, I butchered this, and I was talking about the rushing game. The receiving game, Dobbs had a really monster game. He caught the ball and he ran for 124 yards. Golden had 84 yards. Reed 43. Watson 36. Dude, this offense is stacked, but Chicago was still able to come back, and I don't know what happened.
I think that the Packers they had no answers in the second half, dude, and which is surprising coming from a guy like Matt LaFleur, their head coach, who has a reputation of being like a very, very good offensive coach. We saw this with the Eagles played the Packers this year, and they had no answers in that second half. You know what I mean? Like, they just don't. They pulled an Eagles, dude. It was identical. They missed an extra point, lost by 4.
This was when we talk about all the games that were that played this weekend. Show us your greatness. I'm just gonna say it right now. Show us your greatness. This game right here. This game. Was the best game that was played all weekend.
Is this the moment we start talking about the Bears as legit playoff threats instead of just maybe contenders?
Yes, I believe so, because they get a home game. They're getting another home game. And they're going to be playing the Rams. And so this is like their moment right now.
Yeah.
They get a home game against the Rams, a team that's heavily favored to get to the Super Bowl. This is their moment to prove they can get it done. And remember, they're the 2 seed, Josh. So if they win, I could see the 49ers beating the Seahawks, dude. Okay, so if that happens, they get that home game again. They might. I don't want to get too far ahead. I'm not a Bears fan, but I'm speaking in realistic terms at this point.
The question is, can Williams outshine Stafford? That's going to be the biggest question.
Correct.
And I know you kind of talked about the Rams being overrated, but Stafford is great, absolutely. And it's really going to come down to who is the better quarterback at the end of the day.
I think Stafford is better, but that doesn't mean Caleb can't. He can't be 50% completion rate, because that look, the 2 interceptions, the 50% completion rate, he flipped that in the second half, and it really bailed them out. Like his playmaking ability, his ability to extend plays, really bailed them out. But that is not sustainable. Is all I'm saying. Now, I think it's a learning curve for him. I don't see Caleb his second year. What you're seeing from Caleb, his second year is just like this, and a lot of that has to do with Ben Johnson, his new head coach, obviously. But like you can see, like his trajectory all of a sudden now is like his athleticism. He's got a very strong arm. He's got to kind of like calm it down a little bit. He looked a little bit all over the place in that first half, but then you saw in the second half they made adjustments. They calmed down. He calmed down, and he turned in a really good. That's all that matters, right? At the end, right?
Great.
That's all that matters. They just win the game. So, yes, the Bears are a threat. Absolutely.
All right. Well, if we don't have anything else to say about this game, let's move on to yesterday's games, starting with Chargers Patriots. 16-3. Patriots takes the win. Was expected from you guys? What were your thoughts going into this game? Josh, I'll let you go first.
Chargers has no offense. And this was, call it whatever you want, 16-3. It was a blowout. Okay. This game wasn't watchable. The Chargers are extremely overrated.
Yep.
You're not that good. Okay. Welcome back to the NFL. Okay. Yeah. There's really nothing more I can say about this game. Patriots are. I'm sick of the Patriots. You got your win. In all honesty, you probably should have blown out the Chargers, which they did in their early in the season. I think the Chargers won 40-7, and to see them just put a
Patriots
against the Patriots, correct?
Their previous matchup, did they beat them that bad?
40-7.
Yeah, I think you're
December
right.
27th.
It was.
Oh no, 2024. That was the last time they played.
Okay. I was like, what? I think they played that recently, but
no, they didn't. No, they didn't. I apologize. I'm looking at different notes here. I'm getting a little carried away. I apologize.
Okay.
No, but there's nothing much to say. It's the Patriots. Screw the Patriots. We're all sick of the Patriots.
Yep. So am I. I don't give a fuck if it's a new regime or not.
Yeah, 16-3. Harbaugh is sorry. Welcome back to the NFL. Let's move on.
Shit, I didn't even give
nobody
Eric
cares.
a chance.
Nobody cared about the game. Let's just be honest.
You don't care about covering this game, also, Eric?
Yeah, this was a dog shit game. Like, right. I'm sick of hearing about Justin Herbert. He's not the guy. I'm sorry. And look, to Josh's point, like 16-3, you handled it, but it was just gross. That's a gross way to handle it.
59 yards, no touchdowns. It was sacked 6 times.
And that's, remember, we're talking about a guy that is supposed to be like this generational talent, and it's like, what? Like the Patriots, you can score on the Patriots. You can. I'm not saying they suck on defense. I'm not saying that, but you can, dude.
They're a mediocre defense at best. They're well known for their offense. Their offense barely showed up. Okay. And a mediocre defense beat the LA Chargers.
Yeah, and they're gonna have a hard look. The Patriots are gonna have a tough game against the Texans, dude. I'm sorry, Patriots. That's you get that matchup. Have fun.
All right. Well, we also had the Bills versus Jaguars yesterday. Bills took the win, 27-24. Yeah, what are your thoughts on this one?
Second best game in the playoffs.
Another show us your greatness, as it were.
Show us your greatness. Absolutely. Josh Allen shows up like he does game after game. He's played every position. He was the running back. He was the receiver. Eric, kind of like what you said in the past. This guy got beat up like he always did.
Beat up, dude.
He always does. God, man, 80% complete percentage, 273 yards, only one touchdown. And I believe he ran it in for a touchdown as well.
It was like a 9-yard QB sneak. It was insane.
Yeah. Josh Allen and Stafford are probably the two best quarterbacks right now in the playoffs. Okay. And that's extremely sad that I'm saying that.
That's not
Being
sad.
in the AFC, I'm worried about Josh Allen. And I think every other team should be worried as well because this man came to play. Do whatever you want to him. The guy's tough as nails.
I'm worried about Josh Allen too, but for different reasons. And look, he's the only reason why they won this game. He is the team. They don't have like I mean, I know that James Cook had a really good year. He had a very good year. I think he led the league in rushing this year, which good for him. But they didn't run the ball well in this game. And so they had to obviously rely on Josh. And he plays fucking quarterback, he's tight end, he's fucking wide receiver, he's running back and quarterback. And so and just to give you some context, Alberto, we're joking when we say he's a wide receiver and a tight end. He's not really.
Yeah. Okay.
We're just kind of kidding when we say that. He does run the football a lot. Josh Allen is probably the only quarterback in this playoffs that I know. Actually, you know what? I think him and Caleb Williams are the only two that have the ability to take over a game because of their dynamic of being able to run the ball as well and throw on the run, and they both have very strong arms. So I'm worried though because he smashed his hand. He got evaluated for a concussion in this game. He got his fucking leg bent up, and I think he was okay, but it doesn't mean he isn't feeling that hit. And I just think if you're a Bills fan, here you are, there's no Patrick Mahomes, and I just think it's not going to be enough. I just don't think it's going to be enough. And it's not an indictment on his talent. It's just like, at some point, this is going to be too much. And maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he just carries them, dude, like a Travoy, dude. It's like Wyoming, dude. This is like when he was at Wyoming. Like, Wyoming was only relevant because he was there. And his numbers at Wyoming were not great, but that's because nobody he was throwing the ball to was good. Like, his transition from Wyoming to the Buffalo Bills feels sort of the same. I mean, it's obviously the NFL's higher skill, but still, like, they're putting everything on him, and I think that is not sustainable. But he got it done. They're on to the next. I understand why you're worried about it. We can talk about that in a little bit. But I'm with Josh. This was a very, very good game, very competitive game. I thought the Jags would win, but what do I know? Josh Allen, he did his thing. And they won. On the road, too. And that was the Jags fans showed out. There's another team, like the Panthers, it's like, okay, it's a young franchise, kind of, who knows, Jacksonville. I've never been there, but you don't think of that as like a sports town. So that was a big win against a team that was hot, dude. The Jags were hot, man. I thought they were light, like,
yeah, but Trevor
hot.
Lawrence also played his worst game out of the last 8 games that he played. Right, in the last 8 games, he only threw for 1 interception.
Yeah, he did not play well in this game.
And he threw an interception early. Threw the another interception that was crucial, I believe, in the second half.
It was the very end of the game.
End of the game. Yep, last drive. He only threw for 207 yards.
Yeah, he did not play well. I mean, look, let's not shit on 207 yards, but with that type of game and what you just said about the interceptions, it's not going to work,
For every interception you throw, it takes away like 10 completions.
Yes, or whatever, whatever it is. Yes, every interception is killer.
Yeah, so it just shows that experience comes a long ways, and unfortunately, Trevor Lawrence doesn't have that much experience in the playoffs. He's only played 1 playoff game, and he lost in his 5 years he's been in the NFL. We talked about this in our last talk, whereas Josh Allen has been there year over year. He's been through this grind. He knows what to expect. He knows how to win
He
it.
does. He does.
Fortunately, he just has to do more than he should.
He has to do a lot, dude. And he needs James Cook to run the football because they need the regular season production out of him to sustain Josh Allen from getting hit and being able to like open up the passing game a little bit because Josh can throw. So, yep.
All right. All right. Well, let's move on to, I think, the game that we are here to talk about. One of them, 49ers, the Eagles. 49ers took this one 23-19. Eric, did the Eagles really choke this game, or did the 49ers just out-strategize them?
Well, the 49ers were phenomenal. And look, that's painful for me to say because for me, being an Eagles fan, being a fan of the Eagles, and I know there's a lot of Eagles fans that will relate, 49ers are a team we just don't like. And they certainly don't like us. And these are two very passionate, very strong fan bases that think very, very highly of themselves. And there's certainly more 40. I think the 49ers have a very, very big fan base. One of the bigger ones in the league, in the NFL, I think. We were outcoached. I mean, there was a lot of things about this game, but Kyle Shanahan just came out with his bag, and it was impressive.
Would you say that final play call by the Phillies offense, was that the worst decision of the season?
I think it was that call at the end that you're talking about. This play it defined what our season was from the beginning to the end, through the entire season. It defined what we were. It defined our identity. You're in I think it was 4th and 11, but we were on about the 16-yard line, so we were in the red zone. The 49ers lined up in a zone defense, which means they were playing soft on the wide receivers. This was not man-to-man, so there was about a 10-yard give. You can't run 4 go routes with nothing. With a short field, because the shorter the field, the more creative you have to be to get your wide receivers open. And we ran go routes or what? So Jalen Hurts has to throw to someone, and honestly, he made the right decision in terms of who he decided to go to. He goes to Dallas Goedert, he was definitely our best player in the red zone this year, one of our better players, period. He had 11 touchdown receptions in the regular season, which I think was second or third in the league. Very effective in the red zone, very good tight end. He did squeeze it in there, but it was triple coverage, and there's not much you can do. And so, given what had led up to that moment on that drive, with the situation with A.J. Brown, which we could go down a long A.J. Brown rabbit hole, which I don't know if we need to do, but let's just say Jalen threw a pass to A.J. Brown over the middle. Couldn't have been more open, standing alone, and the ball went right through his hands. And so, what do? You've kind of, I'm sure, I don't know this, but I'm sure at some point you're thinking in your head, if you're the quarterback, if you're Jalen in this point in time, you're like, okay, this guy's dropped the ball 3 times now. Like, I throw to Dallas Goedert, he doesn't drop the ball. You know what I mean? So that play just defined who we were. It defined everything we've been, and it ended exactly the way it would end. And so I'm never happy about a loss. It was hard. I had a lot of emotions. I know I didn't respond to you guys right away because it was just I had a headache, but I think I've been able to level with this one a little differently because I knew deep inside about midway through the season things were just the way they were. And I know I continued to kind of wear my Eagles goggles because I'm thinking, okay, we've been here, we can do it, we've proven it. That gets in the way of logical thinking. But once it was over, I realized, like, no, this is crazy. This is who we were. It was a failure from coaching to the talent on offense, it was just a failure. And so, but we were in the postseason. We were the only team from a year ago that won the division. We got back. The Chiefs did not. So the season, I guess, was a failure from the ultimate goal, but we did compete. We made it back to the playoffs. We lost to a good team. We lost to a team that was coached sensationally. I got to say, like, Kyle Shanahan, phenomenal. What he did with Kyle Juszczyk after he lost George Kittle was unbelievable, dude. And Christian McCaffrey, dude, that guy is just makes plays, man. He just does. Like, what a weapon he is. You know, like, you can use him as a running back, you can use him as in the passing game. Like, he is so dynamic. And we didn't have an answer for it. But that's the thing. That's when you have greatness again. That's good on good. Someone's gonna win, right? Our defense was great, but that's why you have guys like Christian McCaffrey, because they can impact a great defense. Guys like him can fucking get it done. So
I'm glad you brought up the defense, because that was something that we talked about in the last episode, that you weren't worried about the defense. I think you also brought that up, Josh. But would you agree that the Eagles' defense they bend at the worst possible times?
what's that? Say that one more time. You cut out briefly.
I said, would you agree, now that you've taken the Eagles' goggles off, do you think that their defense, they bend at the worst possible times?
No. I think they were being asked to do too much that they shouldn't have had to do. When your offense can't sustain drives and is consistently going 3 and out, they have to go back into the field immediately. And when I was watching the game, when the second half started, I go back to what Josh said. We know this about the Eagles. They fall apart. This season we have fallen apart in the second half. Not last season. We were the reverse last season, right? This season we did the opposite. We could not sustain drives in the second half. We could not get the running game going. Then the passing game failed. The first drive of the second half, I thought to myself, this is the most important drive of the game right here. You have a 13-10 lead. You are playing really well defensively against a very well coached team that at some point is going to break through if you don't get ahead. If you don't extend this lead to 2 scores right off the rip. I remember thinking, like, the 49ers are going to just grind and stay in this game. And what did we do? 3 and out. Our defense went out. They got to stop. 3 and out. We get the ball back. What do we do? Oh, 3 and out. And then I think our defense went out again and got another 3 and out. So it's like, you can't play that game forever. You're leaving out, one of the units is going to get burned out. And that's what happened. The offense just let them out to dry. And it's like the game against the Bills. Like, the 2-point conversion being unsuccessful bailed us out. It bailed us out. Like, the defense had it. We didn't give up any points until the fourth quarter. You can't win doing that. You can't win.
What do you think, Josh?
I agree with Eric 100%. Obviously, Philly got outcoached. You got to give Kyle Shanahan his flowers, and you guys did a good job actually shutting down Purdy. 262.
Yeah, we defended pretty well. We defended him well.
Yeah, 262 yards, 58% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He did have a sack. Guess forced a fumble in there as well. 2 fumbles, actually. But the thing is Kyle Shanahan is so good at utilizing all of his receivers. Not just his receivers, but to your point, what you said earlier, his running backs as receivers. Christian McCaffrey had over 100 yards that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
not
phenomenal.
just running the ball. He had 48 yards running the ball. Okay. Receiving, he had 66 yards.
Yep.
That's huge.
Massive,
also, their
dude.
fullback had four attempts, only 4 catches. Excuse me, with 49 yards.
Huge, dude.
49 yards.
Which he inserted him after the injury to George Kittle, and he got that production.
Agree. And I would say it wasn't that Philly played bad defensively. I would say they got exposed by the coaching. Now, we talked about on the last talk discussion as well, you know, in order for the Eagles to win, the Eagles had to blow out 49ers offensively, and they were only up a field goal. And I kid you not, when I was watching this game and I saw that they were up only a field goal, I was like, they're not going to win this.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. I didn't feel good about it at all.
And yeah, I question the coaching staff. I question Jalen Hurts in this game as well. He had no interceptions. Okay, he had one touchdown pass. He only threw the ball for 168 yards. He only ran the ball for 14 yards.
Yep.
And you and I have talked about this. We talked about this earlier today as well. Is a quarterback that runs too much is not sustainable. Well, Jalen Hurts is going to have to figure it out in how he can actually be a legitimate pocket passer. He's going to have to figure it out and be like a Williams, be like a Josh Allen, you know? Jalen Hurts is not a top 5 quarterback. Okay, regardless that he went to the Super Bowl twice, regardless that he has an MVP in the Super Bowl, he is not a top 5 quarterback. This is why you and I go back and forth, why I have this conversation with you. And I'm not trying to dig at you, Eric, really not. And I don't mean to hurt you or anything on this, man, but I question him as a starting quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I don't think he has the talent to be successful, unfortunately.
Can I ask, on top of that, Josh, do you question his ability to close these playoff games?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely. If the game's on the line and he's making a drive, I'm nervous. I don't think he has the talent to win this game. You know, he has a losing record. If he throws the ball for over 30 attempts, he doesn't win a game.
Well, that's not entirely accurate, but
this season, I think he was like 0-8, or no, not 0-8. I think every game they've lost, he had over 30 attempts. Fact check me.
I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I'm not actually disputing that. I'm just I think you clarified this season. I thought you were meaning in general.
Not in general. This season,
no, I don't. I think there's truth to what you're saying.
Every game he's lost, but it was over 30 attempts.
I think against the Rams, he had over 30 attempts and we won, and that was a comeback win. We were down 26-7. But whatever.
That doesn't mean much. Right? The other thing I question too is Barkley had over 106 yards, 0 touchdowns.
I'm actually glad you brought this up because it's funny. He got the carries, but majority of that production came in the first half. It was in the second half where we went from running the ball extremely well. Jalen Hurts was actually, I think he was like 10 for 14 for 115 yards and a touchdown in the first half. So it wasn't like when you look at the numbers totality, you're like, okay, very pedestrian. I'm not going to argue that. It was very pedestrian. My only counter to what you're saying is I'm not as nervous about Jalen when the game is on the line because that game was on the line. And we did go down that field. And then it comes down to that last play. And it's well documented. It's kind of, I noticed it live. And then I saw people talking about it afterwards, which is funny because I'm like, oh, so I wasn't the only one that saw this. We're getting ready to call that last play. We call a timeout. He's talking with Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni, and you can see Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator, telling him to play. You see this quick glimmer of a facial expression from Jalen, like, what? That's what we're gonna play? And Nick Sirianni is on over there like, yeah, does that look like that the right play right there? And like he's doing this like thing, like it's like Nick, you're the head coach. Like, what are we doing here? So I think Josh does bring up some good points, like on his feelings about Jalen Hurts. I'm not going to really debate those and dispute them because there's some truth, but in the end, you also kind of have to find ways to put your players in a position to win. And I think that was a problem this year. Now you can, if you want to correlate it to the skill set of the quarterback, I don't think you're alone in this argument, Josh, amongst Eagle fans. I think there's a group of Eagles fans. I don't think it's, if I'm going to put a number on it, I don't know, but I don't think it's like half. But let's say it's 35-65, 30-70, right? Maybe 25-75 on the low end. I think there's a group of them that agree with you. That maybe the limitations were more because Jalen Hurts can't play like a Caleb Williams or a Josh. Well, obviously he's not a Josh Allen, but you get what I'm saying. Like this ability to will the game in many ways at a very dynamic level, right? I think what's hard though about this is I watch the Eagles very closely. I follow the team. You know this. I don't need to explain this. I've been doing it my whole life. But with this particular team, I've seen Jalen Hurts in 2022. Jalen Hurts threw the ball really well that year. So I've seen Jalen be able to throw the football well. I've seen it happen. So I know that it exists. I'm just wondering, why was this so hard to do this year? And I don't have the answer. We can speculate. We can talk about it. I don't have the answer. But what I do know is I do think there was a disconnect somewhere. I don't know whose fault it is.
Eric, I've been your friend for a very long time, ever since Jalen Hurts came into the league. I have been questioning him. Obviously, I'm going to have to dig up some old conversations and why. But as your friend, okay, and as a fan of the game, I don't just pick on Jalen Hurts just to dig at you. I have reason behind it. I questioned his game style, and hey, I came to you at one point. He went to the Super Bowl twice. I was like, hey, I think I was wrong about Jalen Hurts.
Josh, you do have to.
I think I was wrong.
But here's the thing, though.
I was wrong.
Here's the thing, and this is kind of my only counter. The guy's been to 2 Super Bowls, and that's just not easy to do. It's just not easy to do.
So, Eric, are you saying that Nick?
It's shocking that Josh is shaking his head at like a Super Bowl appearance and a win is like, whatever. Like that's the ultimate prize, the ultimate goal. Go ahead, Alberto.
Yeah, but it doesn't define him as a great quarterback.
So you're saying that Nick Sirianni deserves some criticism, or is this really just about how player execution?
Oh, I think this kind of goes both ways. I think it goes both ways. I think that you can share this blame and this criticism amongst all of them because remember, AJ Brown early in the year, he created a lot of what ended up being negative media attention. Whatever his intentions were, it created a negative it created this negative like wave of never-ending media storm, particularly in the city, right? You can't drop the fucking ball like that, buddy. You just can't, dude. If you're going to speak your mind and say, hey, we need to work on these things, which I do think he was trying to highlight his displeasure with how the offense was running. But if you're going to say that and the implication is I need the ball, let's go look at that LA. Let's go back to the Denver Bronco game. Week 4. The Eagles are up 17-3. Jalen Hurts throws what should have been the game-sealing touchdown to him, and he kind of stopped on the route. Like, threw it over the top. AJ had his man beat, but you look at the replay and he kind of stopped, and then he got a little more separation, but it was too late at that point. So that was number one right there. Okay, bad sign number one. Okay, of some kind of weird disconnect. Don't know where it's coming from, but that's bad sign number one. He catches that ball. The score is going to be 24-3. I think we pull away and win that game. And then as the season progresses, there was a lot of games, and this is well documented amongst people, amongst fans, that we got into a situation where we really were forcing the ball to AJ Brown, which may have cost us a few games because we got away from maybe a formula that wins for the Eagles, which is running the football, right? Instead, we kind of turned into this, we need to force feed this guy, AJ Brown, to be productive so he can get his catches and get his yards or whatever. And it resulted in poor offensive production because it was just like we kind of became one dimensional. We're going to throw the ball to AJ Brown. And there was just several instances like at the LA game, the Chargers game that I went to. There was a very similar play where we threw to AJ Brown over the middle. The ball went through his hands. It's intercepted. You know, he dropped one in the end zone. He kind of dropped another one against the Packers in the end zone. And then this game yesterday, when we needed him the most, it was a failure. And I don't know. It's something was boiling beneath the surface early in the season. It carried through the season. And in the end, I think when those things happen, you need coaching. You need coaching to step in and figure out a way to correct this stuff. You do. Whatever is going on. And so this drama that started with AJ Brown, which maybe, like I said, maybe he was highlighting like, hey, there's a problem here. Right? I'm willing to give him that benefit of the doubt, but look, man, when you're in that game against the Broncos, you got to fucking keep running that route. You had the touchdown. In that game against the fucking Packers, you should have caught that touchdown in the end zone at the very end of the game. The Chargers, two huge drops. This game, just two huge drops, and then a play where it looked like he could have maybe laid out and got the ball and caught the football, but he was going to take contact. That's tough, dude. That's tough. And I think that's where coaching becomes very, very important because Nick Sirianni had a little bit of a meltdown with him on the sideline yesterday, and it didn't look good. And I didn't agree with Tom Brady. Tom Brady was one of the broadcasters, and he's like, that's just great coaching. What a great relationship. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, I don't think so, Tom. This feels toxic, dude. Like, this is a playoff game. We're not winning right now, and this has been kind of an issue all year. Nick Sirianni was our head coach, just for your context, Albert. Last season, Nick Sirianni had a situation where he got into it with a fan during the game against the Cleveland Browns. And then later against the Steelers last season, he got into it with our best defensive player, Jalen Carter, on the sideline. That all kind of went under the rug because we won the Super Bowl. So it was kind of like, oh, who cares? We won. But now we're seeing it kind of trickle into this season, and I think it just defined who we were, just dysfunction. You know? So, but yeah, I think there's moments this season where I feel like we could have seen more from Jalen Hurts. I do. I think so. But my opinion and my view is different about Jalen. I think because the Eagles have been winning so consistently over the last 5 seasons, it's hard to kind of look at this one season and pick apart a few games where you're like, this guy is not the one. Like, it's hard to do that when he's taking you to 2 Super Bowls because that's just not easy to do. It's just not easy to do. Josh Allen's in his 9th year in the NFL and he's never even been to a Super Bowl. You know, so it just shows. And Lamar Jackson, very good quarterback. Not been to a Super Bowl, 9 years. Joe Burrow has been to 1, lost. Can't stay healthy, though. Can't stay on the field. He had phenomenal production last year. Joe Burrow did. I mean, he lit it up. They didn't make the playoffs. So it's kind of like what I'm trying to highlight is, well, you can do these things, but it doesn't always result in the ultimate goal, right? So if you're the Eagles, I don't know what they do. I don't know what they're going to do, right? I do trust Jeffrey Lurie, the owner. Hold on. I trust Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, obviously, and I trust Howie Roseman. I think they'll make the right decision. What that is, I have no clue.
Russell Wilson went to 2 Super Bowls, won one. We'll just keep it at that.
Wow.
Sure.
But let's move on.
Before we move on, I just have one last question for you, Josh. Does this loss signify that the Eagles are no longer a championship caliber team? You don't have to explain. Just give me an answer.
Eric has said this, and I agree with him. 6 years, 7 years, they went to 3 Super Bowls. That first Super Bowl, it's not the same team. I think the organization has matured. I think it's a great organization. What they did to rebuild so quickly and to bounce back so quickly is phenomenal. Do I think
never happened?
It's a rare case. So
It's never happened.
But with that, do I think that, man, I know Eric doesn't like me pulling out my crystal ball and making assumptions because we're all talking about what's going on today, but I wouldn't be surprised if mid-season next year, Jalen Hurts isn't your starting quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if your coach changes mid-season, end of season, as well. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys don't make it to the playoffs next year.
I guess if you want to call it a counter, is the Eagles don't have a reputation for firing coaches mid-season. We just don't have that reputation.
I'm just basing off of what you're telling me with the toxicity.
Right. I know. I'm not saying it couldn't happen.
It does happen.
We don't have that reputation. Doesn't mean it won't happen, but we don't have that reputation. But it does feel like.
Yeah, I'm not saying you guys have that reputation.
Right.
I'm just saying that if you guys continue the path that you are on today, and it does not get better, a lot can happen.
A lot can happen. You're right. I think that I go back to the 2023 season, and I thought for sure they were going to flip this again and part ways with Nick. I didn't know if they were going to be committed to Jalen Hurts. I had felt like this at the end of the 2023 season. They didn't do that. They went out and they got some good coordinators, right? They got Vic Fangio, got Kellen Moore, and it was like, oh, we're in the Super Bowl again, and we win. So I'm leaning on. I think Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie already know what their plan is. I have a feeling Howie Roseman is the kind of guy. To Josh's point, he's probably already looking at that, right? He's probably already like formulating right now. Okay, where's this going, right? Like, you're not going to ever know about it to the public, but he's having these conversations with the owner behind the closed doors. I am pretty confident they're going to bounce back with Jalen, but it's going to require a certain type of hire of coaching. So I'm feeling okay about the team because we're going to have Vic Fangio back. We have a tremendous defense, a lot of very young players. I mean, there's going to be some guys we're going to lose, and that's every team every year. You can't keep everybody, right? But really good young core. That guy Quinyon Mitchell had those two interceptions in the game. He has for 2 straight years now. I think he's been better than Pat Surtain when you look at his production at that position, which says a lot because Pat Surtain's like one of the best in the business. So Quinyon Mitchell is sensational. Cooper DeJean, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. They've got a lot of really good pieces. So I think we're going to be very competitive still because of that dynamic. It's just really going to hinge on what's going to happen with what they want to do on offense. And so we could see the last season of Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. I don't know. You might be right. We could. But I think they're going to try to make it work is what I think they're going to do. Because it's hard to look at it and say, you look at the last now 6 seasons, and you're like, okay, well, we don't miss the postseason with these guys, right? We don't miss the dance. We don't miss the tournament. So if you're going to make a drastic change, boy, you better get it right, because how quickly the fan base turns is just insane. You know what I mean? They're bitching now, they're complaining now. Well, then they're going to be complaining. Well, we had this. It's like, okay, well, what do you want? What do we want? You know. So
Well,
just be careful what you wish for.
Believe it or not, unfortunately, the fans do run the show, and they do eventually do what they want. Say this actually,
They do. They do. You're 100% right.
So unfortunately, the pressure is on. More so next year for the Philadelphia Eagles than now. So
And,
I think it's less. I think it's less.
Look, you're asking what do the fans want? We want results, Eric. Okay, so let's just move on.
I agree.
Let's move on.
I agree.
And
hey,
yeah.
One last thing, Albert, about this before we move on to the next thing.
One last
thing. There's a word I want you to understand about the NFL, and it's 100% true. It's fleeting. Okay.
Is that the word? Is fleeting?
It's fleeting. It does not last long, and so being able to sustain any kind of winning success is very, very hard to do. So it's a tricky game. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Well, I mean, look, enough about the Eagles. They've lost. They're out. We got to talk about the winner's circle, the teams that matter right now. And what matters is the Broncos' revenge game with the Bills. Josh, I'm looking at you. You're wearing that Broncos beanie. Do the Broncos have a real shot, or are they destined to fall short again?
Man, we're at home. We are arguably the greatest defense in the NFL. Defensively, we lead in one category, and that's sacks.
Okay? That's huge.
If we can shut down Josh Allen,
you disrupt the
we
rhythm.
will win this game.
Yeah.
That's all we need to do, right? That is the guy who plays every position on the offensive side. To Eric's point, he's already beat up, feeling it today. We don't know how he's going to feel this Saturday. Now the question is, yes, we all know our defense is going to show up, but can Bo Nix come in, show up, and actually produce like he has in the last few games? Because he's kind of shown that glimpse of hopes that he is consistent, that he can be consistent. But our receivers also have to show it too. Okay, they got to catch the passes that need to be caught. Our run game has to show up as well, and our O line has to be consistent. Okay, and differences between the Eagles and the Broncos as well is even if we aren't ahead in the half, or if we're only up by one field goal, the game is still potentially ours because we are a much better second half, fourth quarter team next to the Bears. So overall, I do believe we are the much better team. I do see us winning this game.
Even though
I think it's going to be a low-scoring game.
They're short-term underdogs going into this game. You're saying that they should be favored more because
I think we are favored. The only thing is Josh Allen is experienced.
No,
but he's only won one.
Bills are -1. They're the
Bills
favorite.
Josh Allen is more experienced.
Yeah, that's just insane. That's crazy. That's crazy.
How many away playoff games has Josh Allen won, Eric?
I don't know off the top of my head, but he's won them. But
one.
That's crazy to think
in the playoffs. One. He's only won one game in the playoffs.
He's only won one road game.
One road game. That was the Jacksonville game. That was his first away road game that he won. Okay.
Interesting. Interesting.
Like the fact that they're favored to win is actually, you know what?
That's crazy.
No, I don't want to say it is because Josh Allen brings a lot to the table. He has more experience, but someone was telling me earlier today that the Bills' defense showed up. Their defense looked good. They only had one sack. One sack. They had 2 interceptions. The interceptions weren't really. One of the two weren't even just had a brain fart. It wasn't even his fault when he threw it. The fourth quarter one obviously was thrown to the Bills. Let's be honest. Their defense wasn't that impressive. And I think Trevor Lawrence was only sacked once that game. Right? So we're home. I guess you have to put them as favorites just because they're more experienced than we are, right? Other than that, our defense is going to win us this game. Bo Nix, he's going to work his fourth quarter magic.
Eric, how important will turnover margin be in this game?
Oh, well, it's going to be everything in this game. The turnovers are everything, unless you're the Eagles, where you're +2, but you still lose. Okay. The turnovers are going to be huge in this game, and I think it's going to be more on if Bo Nix than anything, because he's the lesser of the two quarterbacks. He can't turn the ball over. As a matter of fact, I would be willing to say he probably can't even have one turnover to be safe. Because when you look at like kind of the comparison of these two teams, like the Broncos give up 18 points a game and the Bills give up 21. All right, so the Broncos, that's third in the league. And for the Bills, that's 12. So that's okay, like for the Bills. What's different is the scoring. The Bills are fourth at 28 points a game, and the Broncos are 14th at 23. It's to Josh's point, they're going to have to win with the defense, and they cannot turn the ball over because the Bills can score and they will score, and it's because of Josh Allen. And it is very rare for a number 1 seed to be an underdog, especially to a 6 seed, dude.
So going
That's
back to Josh Allen has a reputation, obviously, and we've talked about this over and over, for doing more than he should. He does too much, okay? Doing too much is at a cost, okay? Josh Allen has a reputation for fumbling the football and throwing multiple interceptions.
right.
He's going to have 3 interceptions.
Who is?
Josh Allen against the Denver Broncos. I'm calling it right now. He's going to have 3 interceptions. Okay, that's what's going to win us the game. Okay. One of those will be a pick six.
You're really, really going in deep.
I'm really stretching right now.
That's okay. That's okay. Put it all out there.
And I think he's going to be sacked 3 times at least. At the least.
Okay. I mean, saying you're going to get 3 sacks is not crazy to assume. You guys had 68 of them, so I think you're stretching it with the 3 interceptions. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm not saying that. That's a massive guess because that's a lot of interceptions. I mean, I think 1 is too many in most cases.
He's
like
I
said, I think in this game,
he's thrown multiple interceptions in a game, and he's done it in the playoffs as well.
Yeah, interesting. Your guy, the elite quarterback.
He's a great quarterback, but that's the price of doing too much, Eric. The pressure of running the ball too much, right? Taking those hits, scrambling, throwing the ball 40 times in a game. He's going to throw at least 30 times. And he's going to have a lot of questionable...
You're right. I think he's going to have 30 passes. It's going to be like 30 passes. Yeah, I think you're right on 30 passes.
I'm gonna throw this question over to Eric. If Bo Nix outplays Josh Allen, does this expose the Buffaloes as being too dependent on one player?
Oh, 100%. I think they're already there. They're already there on being dependent.
It's year over year, same story.
Yeah,
over and over. Yeah.
It's we like we were discussing earlier. This when we were talking about them in their game against the Jags, like it's all on him. And so, yes, if they lose this game, it's going to come down to something to what Josh said. It's just going to be too much, and he'll turn the ball over 1 too many times, and it'll be close, but it'll come down to like he probably had 2 or 3 turnovers. I'm thinking more along the lines of, if that happens, it's probably going to be 1 or 2 interceptions and maybe like a lost fumble, something like that. I could see that because if you're applying pressure and getting sacks on a quarterback, you're increasing your chances of getting like a fumble off the quarterback. So I could see a situation where maybe he loses the ball with getting sacked, getting the pressure, right? So, but I do think that this is going to come down to more on Bo Nix has to take care of the ball. He's going to need to take care of the ball probably more than Josh because I think Josh can make up a little bit for some turnovers because of his ability, right?
Hmm.
His ability to extend plays and to kind of will the Bills down the field to
That I
score.
agree with. That I
I
agree
think
with.
I don't think Bo Nix he's not inept or anything like that, but I don't think he has that ability. Like so, I think Bo Nix is going to need to be the one he's going to need to play the perfect game versus Josh Allen for the Broncos to win, and they're going to need to score points, dude. You're going to need to score points. I think the Broncos are going to need to get to like 24 to win this game. Like that range, I think you're going to need to be right around there to get the win because of your defense is that good. You're going to need 24 points to win the game. Because I think you can hold Buffalo to 20 points. I think you can. I am still blown away that they're the favored as the 6th seed against the 1 seed against a team like the Broncos.
Experience. It's all about
I,
experience.
I, I,
They've
I mean,
been
but
there.
experience or not, like when you look at the two teams, the Broncos
They've been to
should
the
win this
AFC
game.
Championship multiple times.
They
So
should win this game.
Josh, you're making a lot of steamy predictions with this game. What does your crystal ball say? Is this going to be a potential classic, or is this a blowout in disguise?
this is going to be a classic. I'm going to say I'm going to say 23-20 Broncos.
So right around what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that
Right
what
around what I
is
said.
that where you think also, Eric?
Yeah, I think if the Broncos are going to win, it's going to be right about that score. I don't. This is a hard one for me to predict. I don't know. My gut is telling me the Broncos are going to win, but then somewhere along the line, I got this wild like spark kind of in my heart, thinking like this could be one of these weird situations where you have this quarterback that kind of just carries a team, and it's hard to defend that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. The
Well,
Broncos have been so consistent on defense. It's hard to imagine that they're going to let the Bills beat them because they just are like literally relying on one player. So I think the Broncos are going to win 24-17. It's going to be like that. It's going to come down to the very very end. They're going to have to get one stop at the end of the game. I don't think Josh Allen's going to throw in 3 interceptions, but I'm also not like saying that to Josh like I think he's crazy. I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't see it happening, but you never know.
so obviously I'm learning about this sport alongside you guys as veterans and all that. I just got a quick question. The Broncos win this one. They obviously advance, or what's next for them? Like they're playing another game after this, right? Or what?
AFC Championship.
Okay,
If they win, if they lose, it's over.
that's it. Yeah, yeah,
It's
right.
over.
It's
We're
over.
down. This is single elimination time. We're down to, let's see. We started with 14 teams. Now we're down to what are we down to now? Why is my math all fucked up? It's not 7. Oh no, I'm sorry. 12 teams started to play. We're down to 8 teams, right? Yeah, yeah. You got 4 in the NFC, 4 in the AFC. So we're down to 8 teams.
Okay, all right. Well, that was really. I mean, look, should we cover the Texans game that happened today or tonight, or do you have any thoughts about that with the
Yeah,
Steelers?
we are recording this on a Monday night, and yeah, the Texans they won 30-6. That was whatever. Steelers
No
were
surprise.
no
No.
surprise. The Steelers were just kind of barely hanging in there. It was a very strange game. It was very low scoring for the first like 3 quarters, and then the Texans just muscled them at the end, and that was it. I think I think that the Broncos, I'm going to stand by this opinion. I think they would rather have this matchup against the Bills than the Texans just because of the way the Texans play defense. They are the one team that can match the Broncos on that. So, as a matter of fact, I think they're the one team that's ahead of them in most of the categories except sacks. So, I don't think, I shouldn't say I don't think, CJ Stroud's not Josh Allen, but I do think that CJ Stroud is good enough. He's good enough. He's good enough when you combine him with that defense, is where I'm going. So I think that the Broncos dodged a bullet getting a very tough opponent as their first matchup. But call me crazy, call me poor. That's why we're poor, right?
Yeah. Well, any final thoughts, Josh, before we close this episode out?
I'm hungry. Obviously, I got no Broncos this weekend, so I've been itching to. I'm getting impatient, but we'll see you this Saturday.
All right.
That's right. It's going to be a Saturday game.
Well,
It's probably going to be around 2:30 is my guess.
That's my guess, too.
They haven't announced the times yet. Actually, I think the times should be up now. Let's look real quick before we end this. Let's take a quick peek. 2:30. 2:30 on Saturday. There you go.
Anything else on the docket before we head off?
I don't got anything, Josh. I think we said our piece.
Yeah.
I've made my piece for this season. In the end, we can dissect these things and get crazy, but I'm grateful that I'm not a Browns fan. That's all I'm going to say. Seriously.
And if you like more content, please see us on this channel. We talk all things movie. We rent things, greatness, basement, and come see us at shows in your basement.
Couldn't have topped it off better than myself. So we're gonna go ahead and end this episode. This has been Poor Man Sports. Eric, even though through wins and losses, what do you got to say?
Go Birds. We'll see you in 26. We'll see ya.
Go Birds.
With a new quarterback.